you're making soap, you have a little bit left over and you don't really want to waste it, but it's not quite enough to do much with. This is where your tiny embed molds become perfect. So I have two that I've chosen for you today that have little feathers on them. I'll give you a close-up of them in a minute, but I also have a little bit of the black soap, which I've just used for another project that was making the spanner mold. It's basically melted, but it probably needs a little bit more. So I'll just pop it in the microwave for another 10 seconds and then we'll make the little feather molds. So whilst that's melting, I will also just explain to you that we're going to use the black pigment to make it a little bit darker, and it's already got the balance oil in it. We don't have to worry about flash point because it's only going to be in there for 10 seconds. So because we're making the feathers, I want to make it black. I want it to be actually really quite dark. So we'll add a little bit more in here, and you'll notice that I'm making it on a piece of cardboard. That means that if I need to move it, I can do so quite easily. So that's a really lovely dark black for the feathers. Now there's lots of fine undercuts and details here, so I am going to spray the molds with a bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then I'm actually going to use a pipette to get all of the soap base in all of there, so it follows around and it gets in all of the details, particularly down the stem of the feathers as well, making sure that's full. You're better off to fill one feather entirely and then come back rather than trying to put a little bit in all of them, which means that none of them will be really filled up properly. Okay, so now that they're full, we're going to leave them to set. They're only going to take a few minutes because they're so small, and then once they're fully set, we're going to unmold them and I'll show you how to finish them up beautifully. Our feathers are now set and ready for us to pop out and add some final touches. So we're going to use the black cosmetic mica because I really want them to look like raven's feathers. So they're very easy to pop out of the silicone molds. You just gently run your finger underneath them and you get these fantastic little feathers. They look so pretty and so delicate, and they'll just pop straight out of your molds. And let's take these two out as well. I love this one with a little bit missing on the side. It looks so pretty. And they're good to use just as is if you want to use them like that. But if you really want to add a little bit of highlight to them, you can use a little bit of the black mica and just dust the excess off and just pass it over the actual feather. I'm getting a little bit on the table, never mind. Just to really pick up all those highlights and the definitions. If it's a really warm day, watch that you don't hold them too much because it is a really, really fine soap, and if you handle them too much on a hot day, the heat of your hands might cause them to melt a little bit. But you'll notice how as we decorate them up with a little bit of the black mica, it just makes all of those feathers and the little marks show in all of the embeds that we've made, and they're really, really pretty to pop on top of a finished soap, or to add little accents, or to put with some of your other soaps that you're doing as tiny little embellishments or decorations. I recently did an exhibition at Montsalvat Art Gallery entitled Natural Impressions, and we used this mold and made a whole lot of feathers that look like raven's feathers. So I'm going to clean up this space and I'll come back and show you what they look like finished up.